Hi, my name's Trisha Bolton, and I work with professional women helping them create more time to grow their side hustle so they can leave their full-time employment. I want you to imagine going into your favorite gelati shop and they have a huge range of flavors on offer. Chocolate, cookies and cream, rum and raisin. What happens for you? Does your brain go haywire and go into information overload? Do you struggle to choose? Do you think about the tiramisu, but second guess yourself and maybe try a sample of the mango, only to get more confused? You stand in front of this beautiful display, deciding and redeciding, and you end up going with your normal choice, and then you spend time regretting your decision. This is a very basic example of ineffective decision-making 101, and we do the same thing in our business. Today, we're exploring the power of decision-making and how and why we waste time in indecision, and how we can start making more decisions in our business so we can gain momentum and move towards achieving our goals. Because there's so much power in making decisions. When you make a decision, you are deciding about how you want to create the life that you want. I want you to think about a time in your life when you've made a big decision and think about the results of those decisions. Maybe you decided to start a relationship or end one or go overseas. Your life changed because of the decision you made and the action that you took as a consequence. Maybe you started one career and then decided later to change. That's what happened for me. At university, I decided to study law. And then after umpteen years in private practice, I decided I wanted to change and to try my hand in management. So I redecided my career path and I joined a company to manage lawyers instead of being one. And now, decades later, here I am again because of another career decision, working as a life coach, helping others realize the power of their own decision-making abilities. And all of these great career moves and results for me have come as a consequence of my decisions, because the decisions we make help create our results. Because when we decide, we start doing things which can ultimately lead to us achieving our business goals. It's a superpower that we can hone and harness within ourselves, and expanding our capacity to make more decisive decisions in our lives and in our businesses will help expand our potential for more growth. So why do we waste time? A lot of us resist making decisions in our business. I want you to think about a decision that you've been putting off making in your business. And I want you to notice how not making that decision is slowing you down. Maybe you're so busy considering the pros and cons, assessing all the possibilities, thinking about the impact that the decision might have on your business, or doing research or asking others for advice. Maybe you're trying to make a decision, but you're second guessing yourself and then putting the decision off for later. All of this eats into our precious time, and we slow down our business growth because we are so busy not making a decision. So what is this indecision preventing you from doing in your business? How could your business be progressing further if you made a decision? So why are we so indecisive? Often the reluctance comes from wanting to make the right decision. But the problem is, how do we know what is right? What makes it a right decision? Have a think about a time in your life when you maybe went into a little bit of analysis paralysis and you put off making a decision because you weren't sure if it was the right one. And now I want you to think about, like, without the wisdom of hindsight, how could you have ever known what was truly right? I've made a lot of decisions about my business, which in hindsight, some were right and some were wrong. And how I discovered that was by taking action and trying it out, assessing the outcome, and then deciding whether or not it worked or not. So how could I have definitively known what was right ahead of time? I couldn't, but I wasted a lot of time trying to work it out. And for some of us who like certainty and control, and that used to be me, this can feel really scary because we want to know ahead of time what's right. So then we don't waste time or money and effort in our business. And I want to make clear, like, I'm not suggesting that we don't do our due diligence when we're deciding. We still do our research and we follow whatever decision-making process works for us. But the difference is we don't stay in indecision. We decide what is right in that moment and we take action. And then we find out what works and we continue on that path, or we readjust as required. Decision-making is a power move in our business and it moves us forward. So how can we make it easier for ourselves? I want you to think about a big decision you made in your life in the past. Maybe it was when you decided you wanted a new career, but you weren't sure about how you could make it work with all of your commitments. If you think about the decision to leave your profession, it can feel overwhelming. I know it did for me. But what if we chunk that decision down into a bunch of smaller decisions? What if a big decision is just made up of a group of smaller decisions? For example, the decision to leave your profession is based on decisions around, okay, what new passion do you want to pursue? Is there study that you need to complete or maybe acquire new experience in a different field? Or how will you manage your time around those commitments? Or maybe how will you meet your financial commitments whilst you're studying or growing your business and so on? It's so much easier for our brains if we chunk our big decisions down and make them into smaller, bite-sized, manageable decisions for our brain to consider, so we can avoid the overwhelm that comes with having big decisions. So think about that big decision you've been delaying in your business. And I want you to pause this video if needed. And I want you to write down all the smaller decisions that are underpinning that big decision. Maybe it's not so complicated as you thought. Maybe we just make one decision and then we make the next one and then the next. So to make those decisions, I wanted to share with you a simple process that I follow when I make a decision. And there's no pros and cons list involved here. It's a bit different because we're going to be looking at our reasons. So I want you to think about that decision that you haven't been able to make in your business. And I want you to apply this process and see how it works for you. So we're going to take that big decision. And the first step is we're going to chunk it down into smaller bite-sized decisions. And then for each of those smaller decisions, we're going to follow this process. So for that first smaller decision, we're going to look at what are our options that we want to explore. Like we want to have 2 or 3, at the most 4 options that we want to consider. And if we get real, normally there's only 2 or 3 real options that we're seriously considering anyway. So we can exclude the excess up front and make it easier for ourselves. So for those 2 or 3 options, we're going to write down all the reasons, say for option 1, and then all the reasons for option 2, and so on. And then we're going to spend some time looking at our reasons, and we're going to highlight the ones that we like. And then we're going to take a step back and we're going to notice which option has the most reasons that we love. And then for that option, we're going to ask ourselves this question: is this the decision that I want to make? And we're going to notice what comes up for us. And it's a moment to check in with our gut and our intuition. And another pro tip I want to share with you is we don't want to be making decisions in our business from a negative place. So if we're feeling, like emotions like stress or fear, it's not a great time to be making a decision in our business. So we want to clean up our thinking first before we make any decisions. I want you to imagine how much time you will save if you no longer delay making decisions or second guessing yourself. So you're constantly distracted with mind chatter about your decision. You decide what's right and you move on. Because making decisions and redecisions is how we progress and move forward in our business. We just need to practice and get comfortable exercising this superpower. So I want you to pause for a moment and I want you to make the decision right now to apply the principles and strategies I've shared with you today. Becoming more decisive can help you grow your business. And that is what we are here for today. And if you struggle with indecision and making decisions, you can book in for a time design strategy session with me and find out about how my time design program can work for you. And during that call, I'll share some great easy strategies you can implement immediately to create more time in your week for your business. So my final offering for you is go make some decisions.